How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to change the heater core on a 2008 through 10 Dodge Avenger RT. First things first is you're going to need to go pick up some radiator hose pinch off pliers. Now I picked these up at Harbor Freight. They're about $12 for each one of these, and with tax it was probably about $27 I think for both of these. And you'll also need a pair of needle nose pliers. Now a lot of these videos I've seen, to get past tearing the dash out, they take a saw and they cut the old heater core out, cut the lines on the new one, slide the new one in, and then just put flex pipe on the over the cuts. And I think that's not necessary. All you need is some needle nose pliers, 2 of these, and obviously a new heater core. So this heater core here, apologize for the mess, it's a shop. So this heater core here I got off of Rock Auto for $60. It's a GPD. So on these heater cores, if you look carefully, right here on the ends, they are crimped down. So if you get needle nose pliers, oh, and you also need a flathead screwdriver to get in here to pry these open, and you just pull these tubes off, and you do the same thing on the heater core up there. Let's get to it. The reason I am changing my heater core is because there's heat in that vent, barely some in this vent, cold air, very cold air, and same for the floor vents. And the defroster, like half of it's hot, or half of it's cold on this side and the other half is hot. So I did a complete coolant flush. I just changed my coolant. I went to a shop and they actually drained the coolant, flushed it out and everything for $80. I got all new coolant in there. It used to be like a really murky red, and now it's like a clear liquid, so I know they did a good job. And car's been running fine for the past week with it. So the next thing you want to do is come under your steering wheel. There will be this little panel here that you need to remove, and there is a pin here. This is a tool meant to remove these, but you can just achieve it with a flathead screwdriver. It might be a little more difficult, but this tool is only $6, and the 08 through 10 Avengers are full of them, so I think it's a great investment. Because all you do is twist and work it, and it should come right out. Just like that. Once that panel is removed, all you have to do is remove this screw right here, and that will take this little protective panel off of here. And I'm not sure what this wire is for, but just pull it off and set it down here. I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so I'm kind of doing this as I go, but this piece right here is actually your floor, your foot heat vent. So it's kind of just like an elbow, but it just literally just popped off. So once I pull that screw out, you just work it, pull it right off. So when you go to put when you go to put it back on, it should just lock right in. It's really hard to get under here. I kind of just laid on my back and looked up in there and kind of just pulled it off, and it came right off. So it might be difficult to get it back on, but regardless, you're gonna need to take this off to get to the heater core here. Okay, so I just had one hell of a time getting these crimped, but if you kind of look back there, you can see the crimper right there on the hose. So if you reach around and make sure they're crimped all the way down. These are just like Visa grips, as you can see, but they have like smoother edges so it doesn't destroy your heater hose. Never ever use like Visa grips on this hose, because you'll really damage the hose, and then you'll have leaks, and then you have to get fitting, or you have to redo your lines or the ends or whatever. So I just crimped them just like that, and that will prevent, once I take off the old heater core, from the coolant in these that are just sitting in these lines to keep flowing down. Basically anything after that I crimped may come back into the cab. So the next step is to start prying the crimped edges out. So I am be very careful with this step too, because you're gonna have to re-crimp these down, and you don't want to split this metal here, or this aluminum, because if you split this and you go to crimp it back and there's like a little crack in this, then you'll definitely start to see little leaks or whatever down the road. The reason I'm doing this method and not cutting it and putting the flex pipe or whatever is because if you have a massive, like, let's just say your car overheated or something, and obviously, you know, it's running back in the cab and you have these fittings here, it could overheat and it could start to leak here, and I don't want to leak over into the cab. So I'm doing this step here, and you want to make sure you do this very carefully. So all I'm doing is taking a flathead screwdriver, sticking it in there. Switch hands here. Kind of just working it out. Like I said, and these hoses can actually like twist out to make it a little easier for you when you're working. Like now, I can actually get my screwdriver in there. It's a little hard when recording, but basically all you want to do is just stick your screwdriver in there and pry this out. I'll show you the results in a minute. Okay, so now I have these both of these pulled off. I'm going to leave these up here. These actually have like a little bit of grease on them, so just pull them off, set them in a safe place. It's not dirty. It's not really dirty. It's a little dusty up here, but it's not like, you know, like that dirty. But you can do whatever you want with these. I don't really see a need to save them because, I mean, you're never really gonna take the heater or your, you know, these out, because the dealership quoted me over $1,200 to pull the entire dash out to change this. So that's why I'm doing it myself. But this is what the ends look like here. Just make sure that you don't really, you know, forcefully bend these, because you're gonna have to re-crimp these with pliers. So once you get that out, do the same thing in the cab. But the ones in the cab, you don't have to be, you know, like extremely careful like I did with these, because you're not going to be using that new heater core. Just don't bend those, because if you bend those, then you're going to have to either take the old ones out or cut and do the cutting and splicing method. So one thing to make sure before you start this here is to lay a towel down, because there's still a little bit of pressure in this system. And turn my lights here. There's still a little bit of pressure in the system. So the moment you pull, once you pry this out and pull this off, you're gonna see some fluid drippage. And I don't have really, you know, I don't have nice floor mats, so I just have this old shop towel that I'm going to just kind of mask all of this off with all this carpet off, because I obviously don't want coolant drippage all over this. So it's going to be a little difficult to get those apart, but I will let you know my progress. Okay guys, so I officially got everything pried back. It does take some time. I still have to do the top one, but I just want to show you. I left my car sitting all night, and as you saw, I crimped it. So what you're going to do is pull it open and just let it leak out. It's going to take a second, but coolant will eventually stop dripping. And you're just going to want to let this drip out. This is normal because there's obviously coolant in your existing heater core. So you're just going to want to let this drain out as much as it can for however long. So yeah. Now I let it drip out for a little bit, and there's still some drippage. So if you want to kind of clear up your work area, you can just take, I don't know, a piece of cloth. I actually cut myself earlier. When you go to just take some cloth, stuff it in there to prevent drippage. Okay, so I successfully got the old heater core out. You want to just be careful. This little scrape mark is just from me pulling it out. If you look in there, you can see all the gunk from over the years. Let me set this down so I can actually focus in there. And you can see all those chunks in there. Okay, so one thing I just figured out. Just be careful when pulling this out. I dented it in a few spots. That should be fine, but just be careful. One thing I noticed when putting it in, they weren't like setting down in here. So that set in perfect. That's all the way down. But basically, this side, see how it's not setting down unless I tilt in and then down, then it's in. But inside my car, I can't twist the heater core hoses like this. So I need to make these round enough so they can just go in like that, nice and easy. Okay, so I got the new heater core in and working. So I forgot to record. Well, I didn't forget to record, but I was just really tired and I just wanted to get it in and get it done. But basically, like I said, you just get it in there. I can't really see it. You can see the new one in there. When it's in there and you have the new O-rings on, for me, they weren't like setting all the way in there. Like that's obviously not set it in there. But what I did was I got a long flathead screwdriver. Not sure if any of you have one of these, but it's very long. I mean, it's longer than the heater core itself. And the top one is the one I had the trouble with. So I just went in from up here like that and kind of, so if that's on here, like that. So I'm just using this as an example, but I put my screwdriver like this with the O-ring already on the pipe, and I hit the back of it and drove it in till it sunk in. Like you'll know when it sinks in. Like it shouldn't really come out on its own. And once that is done, you want to just take your needle nose pliers. I actually used these here, just some Visa grips, or channel locks, sorry. And I kind of just went on the side like this, and then just crimped it down. And it held up fine. You always start your vehicle. So, well, before you start your vehicle, you always want to make sure you top it off with the correct coolant. I had a Prestone all vehicle coolant, couldn't find it, but luckily I had some backup coolant that's meant for my car too. Always make sure when your car's cold, there is a cold fill line right there, right at the tip of my finger. So I'm a little over, I mean it is a little warm right now because I ran it about a little over an hour ago, but it's a little over, it's okay. But yeah, you just want to take your pliers off those, and you want to just let your car idle. That's all you do. You just let your car idle for, I don't know, I think I waited 5 minutes, and you just look right where the heater core went in, and you want to make sure you don't see any drips at all. If you see drips, obviously you gotta re-crimp it, re-pound it in, whatever. If there's no drips there, give it about 5 minutes and then just push on the pedal a little bit, and you'll actually start to hear the fluid rush through here real quick. And you just want to do that just barely, and to see if there's any coolant leaks. and then you want to go for a test drive. Now, when you go for a test drive, you really just want to, you know, do a nice little test, check your vents. All of my vents were blowing very, very hot heat, which was amazing. But you want to actually, like, at some point, I floored it almost all the way to 6,000 RPMs, because that really sends the coolant through your system fast. And, you know, if there's any leaks, obviously when you floor it, then, you know, it's something to change. But fortunately for me, I'm all set. There are absolutely no leaks, blowing hot air. And yeah, you just put everything back together, and yeah, you just want to make sure, like I said, you get those O-rings, that came with the new core on the old pipe. Because if you just take the old O-rings from the old heater core and put it on the new one, those O-rings are not meant for the new one, they're meant for the old one. So once you do that, you just put everything back together, and like I said, top off your coolant and you'll be good to go.